Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Japanese Tattoo Matcha event. My name is Takahiro Kitamura, and I've been tattooing for 10 years as Horitaka. Horitaka is the title that was given to me by my master, Horiyoshi III of Yokohama, Japan. With over 35 years of experience, Horiyoshi III has emerged as one of the foremost practitioners of the Japanese tattoo. Up here, we actually have an example of a short sleeve bodysuit that he did with the munewari, which is a split chest down the middle. And for the last decade, I've been fortunate enough to study with him. I think it is important to understand the significance of this event and why people like Mr. Nagashima have flown all the way here from Japan. The Asian Art Museum has taken a bold step with an event of this nature. Japanese tattooing has been marginalized for centuries in Japan, and the idea of showing tattoos at a place like this, or even to tattoo at such a place, would be considered ludicrous at best. As part of the Asian Art Museum's Matcha series, I was asked to give a lecture. I'm going to talk a little bit about Japanese tattooing, sort of general overview. And we're very lucky though, because we have Shige, Horitomo, Horiso, and Horiyuki to be tattooing here tonight. Shige and his client, Mr. Nagashima, have actually flown in from Japan to exhibit. Horitomo is actually a very recent immigrant to the United States. He just moved, but he spent most of his tattoo career in Japan. Horiso and Horiyuki both work at State of Grace. Both have received their titles from Horiyoshi III himself. So I think we're very excited to be here at the Asian Art Museum. My interest in Japanese tattoo art started when I was very young. I actually used to watch a television program where the hero at the end of the program would take off part of his kimono and reveal an elaborate cherry blossom and wind half sleeve. And I think even at a young age, I thought that was cool. I think the first place that any Japanese tattoo artist looks for when looking for imagery is at the woodblock prints. The woodblock prints of the Edo period provide us with our art source to draw from. From there, all forms of Japanese art really, because as I said before, tattoo art isn't specific just to tattooing, it conveys the culture of the nation. So you'll find these designs on kimonos, in sculptures, carvings, and whatnot. I think especially people in the West are very attracted to Japanese tattooing. I think there is a sincere appreciation for the culture, for a culture that they feel maybe is a bit older than theirs. I've interviewed many tattooers from Europe and America that also feel that they wanted to see something or study something that was a little bit more foreign to them, something that they didn't grow up with seeing every day. So it's a little bit more interesting on that note. And I think you'll see the same thing happening in Japan, where Japanese kids are really into American culture, especially pop culture, 50s stuff. And I think that just sort of, I think everywhere in the world that happens. And I think it's good that people can appreciate other people's cultures and indulge in that. And I think maybe a tattoo is a way that somebody can maybe experience a little bit of a different culture and learn something about it. I think there definitely is a relationship between tattoos and fashions, because ultimately tattoos are a sense of fashion. They're a sense of appearance. It is a visual art. It's something that it's a permanent one on one's body, so maybe it's not quite as, it's a little bit heavier than changing your jacket and whatnot, but essentially it is a visual aesthetic.
So what made you choose this? How did you go about with the design?
Oh, okay, the upper design was because I read about the figure and I liked the idea to have somebody to protect me, and the rest is just decoration.
I think it's just like, you just know, it's like a feeling you get when you see it. And you have to be sure because it's on your body for the rest of your life.
I would like to introduce a special guest at this time. We're fortunate tonight to actually have tattooers from Japan, as well as a client, Mr. Nagashima. Mr. Nagashima is a tattoo collector and client of Shige, who is tattooing downstairs. Mr. Nagashima began collecting tattoos from Shige in August of 2005. He began with his arm. He had a dragon and a lucky cat on the right side, and then on the left side he has a phoenix. From April of 2006, they started working on his back piece. It's a Juichimen Kannon, which is an 11-faced kannon. And this was 16 sessions for a total of 96 hours to complete. And then this phase of Mr. Nagashima's tattoo work was completed after he added his family crest in the center of his chest. And you can see that right here. Let's have a round of applause for Mr. Nagashima. Contemporary tattooers generally use a tattoo machine, which is essentially an electromagnet that moves the needle bar back and forth, which is used to insert ink into skin. In the olden days, before the quote-unquote electric gun, as it was called in Japan, people would use what is called a hand needle, which is a series of needles lashed to the end of a stick. So at this stage, I think many artists in Japan sort of use a combination of maybe outlining by machine and shading by hand. So that way they still feel in touch with that tradition, however they're still moving their art forward.